time to get famous again. But first, I am so back. But that wasn't always the case. In fact, I was not back for all of 2024 and most of 2023 on YouTube specifically. Did I use my time off to improve myself physically, mentally, and spiritually? Of course not. I had a baby and got in over my head. But she's old enough to take care of herself now, and we have a new camera to talk about. Today I will be reviewing the GoPro Hero 13 Black from top to bottom. Let's get started with the little test footage I shot from a recent trip to Arizona, USA. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. This is a filmmaking and photography channel. We review camera gear around here and talk art. Not like that. Today I'm reviewing the GoPro Hero 13 Black. This newest GoPro was released on September 10th, 2024. I purchased mine from Amazon for $299 US, and I think that was actually a sale price, because I'm looking at the price now and it's $329. Anyway, this is pretty exciting for me because I'm upgrading from a GoPro Hero 8. Comment below if you're rocking an even older one. I know some of you out there are. Let's get to unboxing. My GoPro 13 came with literature I won't read, one battery, one USB-C charger, and no block of course, one proprietary base plate, and one sticker mount base for a helmet. Apparently GoPro thinks I'm gonna literally mount this thing to a helmet, which is so stupid. As far as overall shooting options with the Hero 13, it looks like we had the classic modes here to choose from, so video and photo and time-lapse. Let's get into video specs first because we have a lot to talk about with that. As always is the case with GoPro, you can really kind of customize yourself to death in video mode, so I'm going to do my best to keep all this stuff straight for you. Let's start with the max stats first and work our way back from there. Your maximum image resolution and frame rate combo for the GoPro Hero 13 is 5.3K at 60 frames per second. We're shooting in 10-bit color for all 5 and 4K video options. The camera itself is shooting on an 8:7 aspect ratio. That's considered full frame for this GoPro, but you can select a 16:9 widescreen recording option, which is what I did for all my test footage. I'm sure that's what everybody's going to do with their GoPro. 8:7 is basically a square image that I'd have to crop in editing anyways. You also have framing options for vertical, which is 9:16, and traditional, which is 4:3. I hope this is all not already confusing you too much. There is way more. Your maximum frame rate for continuous video shooting is 240 frames per second in 2.7K. Unfortunately, the 2.7 and HD video modes are not shot in 10-bit, which is not a big surprise looking at the footage here. That's an 8-bit color image. But I'm not too worried about slow motion options because we do get 4K 120 in 10-bit, which I'm sure is what damn near everyone's going to use anyways. As usual with GoPro, you get several different lens options, all quite wide. We have Hyperview, which is 12mm, basically a fisheye. Superview, which is 16mm, also looks like a fisheye. Wide, which is 16 to 34mm, and you might be thinking, 16 to 24, what, so I can zoom? Yeah, you can. Digitally in the camera menu. Linear, which is 25 to 31mm, that's what I shot almost all of my test footage in. And lastly, Linear Plus, which is 25 to 31mm also, but in this mode your horizon gets locked flat, so you get very little fisheye style warping of not only the horizon but also the other straight lines in your image. This is a big win for people like me who shoot commercial work and will naturally want to match GoPro footage with other cameras that don't have image distortion problems like GoPro. I wish I would have shot a lot of my test footage in Arizona using Linear Plus, honestly, but I just didn't see it then when I was testing the camera, so some of my horizon and vertical lines were a mess. It's odd, I mean, even in regular linear mode, which again is 25mm, there shouldn't be this much distortion anyways, given the focal length, but I don't know. That's GoPro for you. As far as image stabilization, I personally just leave Hypersmooth on permanently, and that's enough for me. There is an option for even more stabilization using what GoPro calls Auto Boost, which comes with a little bit more of image cropping. The footage is for sure smoother, but GoPro admits that they're cropping the image after it's shot. So you can't preview it with that crop and playback. You're only gonna really see it after you upload the footage and look at it when you're editing, which is probably fine. It's not like a noticeable crop again, but it's just a little weird. In video mode, you get 3 color profiles to choose from: Standard, HLG, HDR, and Log. I shot all my test footage in Standard, and I think it looks fine under the right conditions, which for GoPro always means shooting outside in the day. Standard holds up just fine to simple global color editing, which is what I'll do until I give myself a reason to use this GoPro differently, or if I start shooting a large amount of GoPro footage. And to be honest, I still have most all other camera settings, shutter speed, white balance, ISO, on auto. Always remember that convenience is what GoPro does best.
Meanwhile, back in Missouri, I almost forgot to test the GoPro Hero 13's audio capabilities. Almost. Anyways, I am testing GoPro's essentially onboard audio capabilities. I think we're recording in the highest raw output possible for audio, and there was some audio tuning. It's turned all the way up. That's supposed to enhance, I guess, vocals against the background noise. So we'll see what it sounds like. Let me know what you guys think of the audio quality here. I'm hoping that this kind of sounds good and can be usable, and maybe we can be on the way to, I guess, vlogging a little more. I really don't ever vlog. Even in my YouTube work, I don't really vlog that much, but I don't mind it, especially if it's gonna be this convenient where I can just pull the camera out and record.
I guess now is as good a time as any to talk about waterproof specs. The GoPro Hero 13, like most GoPros before it, is waterproof. This one is waterproof up to 33 feet or 10 meters. For deeper diving, you'll want to buy additional waterproof casing. It's way too cold to swim where I live normally, which is Missouri, but I did just a few quick submersion tests in Arizona without any problems at all. The underwater image clarity looks really good too in 5K. I am pretty excited to push this camera harder for my underwater shooting this summer. Burst mode. Okay, here's where we get our super slow motion options. Classic GoPro stuff, or is it? Nah, it is, but it just doesn't look very great. To clarify, it's called burst mode because it's not continuous shooting. In fact, in all 3 available frame rates, it only lasts 5 to 15 seconds and then it's over. Can you imagine that happening to you? Anyway, you get 3 resolution and frame rate options in burst mode. You can shoot 5.3K at 120 frames per second for 5 seconds, 900p at 300 frames per second for 15 seconds, and 720p at 400 frames per second for 15 seconds also. I don't know, man. You see the sample footage here. Even seeing it on my iMac screen in editing before YouTube compression, it looks so muddy. The 5.3K 120 option here does look a little better, but you only get 5 seconds of recording at a time. I don't know what you would even use this for, especially when you can shoot 4K 120 continuously in regular video mode in 10-bit color. This is just a strange thing to put in a camera, in my opinion. I kind of wish I could justify spending more time on burst mode in this video because the frame rates on paper are wild and they should be more fun to use, but it just doesn't look good. So, I mean, what's the point? Comment below. What's the point? Personally, I plan to totally disable burst mode on my GoPro, more like bust mode. I secretly think GoPro wants to get rid of burst mode, or more specifically, get rid of the idea of like crazy high frame rates on a small action camera sensor, which is something they used to lead the industry in back in, I don't know, like 2012, but I mean, come on, man. I'm showing you 720p footage in 2025 when other action camera brands are shooting in 8K. I think it's pretty obvious that GoPro is really investing in their 5K sensor options, which makes sense. Next, time-lapse mode. So my burst mode test got me to a little bit of a low point, but that's okay. It's time to move on to time-lapse mode. At this point, I'm ready to just chill and make some nice relaxing time lapses for you guys. Nope. Time warp, star trails, light painting, vehicle lights, night lapse. Jesus, what is going on here, GoPro? I just tapped on time lapse and now you're throwing 5 other 2018 Instagram cliches at me. These modes do look to be holdovers from the Hero 11, to be fair, and in GoPro's defense, all the modes are methods of traditional photography that are very difficult to pull off, trust me. I've tried most of this stuff in years past with my regular cameras, with let's just say limited success. So if GoPro can help me achieve some of these looks easier, I'm all for it. Let's just give it a try. Time-lapse mode. So I shot all my time-lapse tests in 4K to keep my file sizes smaller, but 5.3K was available for all of them. Again, both options are 10-bit anyways. I utilize 3-second intervals for my video clips, but you can choose options between 1 second all the way up to 60 minutes. You will of course get the best results here using a tripod. I really like the look of the time-lapse tests here, and I will be trying to incorporate these into my commercial work for sure. Again, before this, I had a GoPro Hero 8 that did shoot time lapses, but they didn't look that great, and I can't really justify dedicating my mirrorless or cinema cameras to time-lapse shooting while I'm on set. Now I don't have to worry about that. Now I have a tiny but reliable 5K time-lapse machine ready to go. Time warp. The mode says time warp, but you most likely heard it called by another name, hyperlapse. Hyperlapses were a crazy popular fad on YouTube years ago. It's mostly just a sped up time lapse, but the camera is mounted on something that is moving. In my case, it's just mounted to my car, but you're supposed to be able to handhold the camera and get similar results. I think this is where an ND filter would have came in handy to achieve more motion blur, but overall I think it looks perfectly fine for social media video work. I adjusted no settings and I used auto speed for my recordings. Star Trails. In Star Trails mode, the objective is to shoot the stars as they move through the night sky. You will need a tripod for this mode and a full battery to let the camera run a while, and really not much else. I just let my camera run until it died. Obviously make sure to shoot this with a clear night sky with the stars already out. This won't work if it's a cloudy night sky. Also, be sure to point the camera up towards the sky to avoid car lights, as this mode can be easily ruined by light pollution. If car lights pass by your frame, it'll ruin the photo. But all you really need to do is compose your shot where the stars are, press record, and just go to bed if you want to. While you're sleeping, the GoPro will record one 4K video clip for you of the star trails in motion and generate one star trail JPEG image. Once more, I didn't have many settings that needed changing. The only one I did change was my star trail length, because I like the swirly star look better versus a regular night sky. So yeah, man, really fun and easy images to shoot here. I can't complain. Light painting. You will need a tripod for this one too, but it's pretty easy to get a good result. I found it easier to set up the shots I wanted using the remote shutter on the GoPro Quick app. This mode is all about how you move around the camera with a light source. I was able to make these photos with a small LED light and walked around my subject in a circle while the camera was recording. Once I was done moving around with my light, I just stopped recording. That's really it. Not much stopping you here besides your own creativity. The only setting I adjusted was opting for max trail length, and that's it. I'm still all auto here, baby. Like the Star Trails mode, your GoPro will create one 4K video clip of the light painting and one JPEG image per recording. I won't go into too much technical detail here, but trust me when I say this is hard to do with a regular camera. Whatever digital sensor magic GoPro is using to generate these long exposure images, I'm pretty blown away so far. Vehicle lights. In vehicle light mode, the objective is pretty simple. We want vehicle light trails in the final image. You will need a tripod for this mode as well, and of course this is a night specific kind of thing to shoot. You're really just setting up your camera, hitting record, then waiting for vehicles to pass through and hitting stop record. You obviously don't need to just let the camera run for a long period of time like Star Trail. The action to shoot is only the lighted vehicles passing by your camera. My GoPro again produced one 4K video clip and one JPEG image per recording. The only setting I elected for was long trail lengths. We're on auto for everything else. Night lapse. I think night lapse mode kind of brings all the long exposure night modes together for one really cool time lapse result. You will need a tripod for this mode and a full battery to let the camera record for a while. As far as settings, I use 10-second intervals for my test. But like all the other modes, all you really gotta do is hit record and walk away. The final result is so clean and sharp, but also with the right amount of denoising you need for night shooting, already baked in. This is pretty crazy stuff for such a small sensor. I love the vehicle light trails too here. Overall, these time-lapse modes kinda blew my mind, guys. I am changed. It is a little weird that these modes exist under a time-lapse option to begin with. Most of this is actually long exposure photography, but if you wanted to shoot this stuff in years past, oh man, it was tough. You'd need an intervalometer and the knowledge how to use it properly, a really sturdy tripod, you'd have to be comfortable shooting in bulb mode, you'd have to be religious about your shutter speeds, and you'd have to do test after test after test to get a decent result. Most of these modes would require another set of hands just to attempt to shoot them. With the GoPro Hero 13 for these tests, most of the time I'm just pressing record and I walk away. I didn't even hardly change any settings at all. I really made a point to try and leave everything on auto and see what I got. Photo mode. Alright, enough video talk. I know what you really want from your GoPro Hero 13, and that's photos. But wait, let me make the case here. I do have some interesting photography results to report. Let's check it out. So the maximum amount of megapixels we get here is 27.13 in an aspect ratio of 5568 by 4872, which gives you basically square photos. We don't have the option to shoot photos in a true 9:16 vertical position, although if you remember, we can do that in video mode. You have 4 different photo outputs to choose from, starting with Super Photo, which is GoPro's onboard JPEG system, HDR, Standard, and RAW, which you'll be editing a .gpr file. RAW photo mode obviously produces the highest overall quality this camera can shoot. From my research, it looks like the overall megapixel count actually varies quite a bit depending on which output you choose. You won't always get 27.13 megapixels. Remember, that's the max, and you'll need to shoot in RAW to get that. I was pleasantly surprised with how good the RAW files looked and how well they stood up to global editing in Lightroom, as long as you're shooting outdoors with lots of sunlight. Personally, I don't need RAW photos from my GoPro, but they do look good. In my testing, I actually found Super Photo mode to give me the best overall results with the least amount of noise versus file size. I know there's some camera nerds out there that are just begging for me to read more numbers to you, so here's some more. As far as metadata goes, the Super Photo JPEGs came out to anywhere from 6 to 9 megabytes in file size, 5568 by 4872 in aspect ratio, f2.5 at 1/1400 shutter speed, and auto white balance all day. GoPro is, of course, deciding my f-stop and shutter speed for me here too. In contrast, a raw.gpr file was 15 to 20 megabytes per file, and I really don't need to be storing that much data in GoPro photos personally. Your 2 focal lengths to choose from in photo mode are linear, 25 to 31 millimeters, and wide, 16 to 34 millimeters. We also have night mode, which is exactly what it sounds like, getting you an 800 ISO max with some extra in-camera denoising, which doesn't look bad at all for such a small sensor size. I would recommend using a tripod for this mode, but it's really not necessary. You only get standard or raw outputs here. As far as settings go for night mode, again, I have everything in auto. To summarize, 27.13 megapixels looks pretty good on paper, but remember that is the maximum amount available when shooting in raw outputs only. All the other output modes will shoot photos at a lower megapixel count, which is fine for me. I probably won't take photos using my GoPro anyways. If I wasn't making this YouTube review, I probably wouldn't even use photo mode. Ever? But I'm not sleeping on these photo features either. They're perfectly usable. Let's keep it moving and talk about battery life. I think you can tell by looking at me that I'm a one battery guy when it comes to my GoPros, which is fine as it turns out, because with the GoPro Hero 13 you get 1900 milliamps with continuous run times up to 1.5 hours of 5.3K or up to 2.5 hours of 1080p video recording. That's a pretty strong battery for a camera this size. Okay, good news. I learned that this battery does last longer than the previous Hero 12. Bad news. That's because it's a different battery. That means that this battery isn't backwards compatible with the previous Hero 12 or earlier models. nor are the older batteries forwards compatible. I don't know why I feel like I should be apologizing for this. In my experience of making this video, I was able to shoot for multiple days with an on and off style kind of use with no issues. But if you plan to continuously run your camera for long periods lasting multiple days, you'll have to buy more batteries. At the time of this video recording, it looks like B&H is currently selling 2 packs for $48. Okay, let's talk about mounting and accessories next. The Hero 13 now has the option to use magnetic mounts. I do believe this is GoPro kind of playing catch up with other action camera brands. Personally, I will not be investing in the latch mount ecosystem, even though it does look slightly more convenient. The reality is that the traditional GoPro fingers mounting method still offers us way more mounting options at a lower price given how many third-party companies are still making this stuff. For instance, I picked up this Jaws Flex clamp mount system, which costs less than the entire GoPro magnet alone, and I might not ever need to buy anything else. It's so simple and so versatile, and everyone's selling them. Here's the real win, ladies and gentlemen. With this camera, I now have a 1/4-inch mounting option. This is actually game changing because now I can finally put this thing on a tripod, a light stand, a GorillaPod. I can put it on anything. This is exactly what you want to see as a filmmaker. Now I can use gear that I already have lying around in brand new ways. Remember, the point of photography is making art, not buying shit. To clarify, this looks to be an update from the GoPro Hero 12, so you don't need the 13 to take advantage of the 1/4-inch mount. GoPro Quick App. Before we wrap up, I need to briefly highlight the GoPro Quick app. So you do have to download this app initially to activate /setup/update your camera. Fair warning, that process is not super enjoyable from a user experience perspective. It's not complicated, it's just time consuming. I'd rather not bog this video down with that setup process. It's already going to be long enough. But if you really want to see it, comment below and I'll make a short breaking that process down for you. All the app headache is worth it though, in my opinion, because there's a big win here to talk about. With the GoPro Quick app, I can turn my camera on and off remotely and stop and start recording remotely. This is unbelievably helpful, as I found myself often mounting my GoPro in places that just aren't in arm's length, like outside of a vehicle for instance. We also get a pretty decent image preview on my phone to make sure I have everything I want in frame with very little frame skipping. That connection requires both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth camera connections though. And lastly, I can change my camera settings from the app, so my GoPro can just stay where it is and I don't have to mess with its little swipey touchscreen more than I have to. Okay, let's wrap this thing up. So the GoPro Hero 13 Black, was it okay or did I just like it? Well, I really enjoyed using this new GoPro and I am glad I upgraded from the 8. If you're still rocking a super old GoPro like I was, there's a lot of good stuff here to totally justify an upgrade. Here are some of the things I loved most. 5.3K at 60 frames per second, 10-bit color, love that. The overall video quality looks great. I found the GoPro Quick app to be very fast to connect to my camera, and the remote shutter/preview screen was a lifesaver when recording this video. Battery life was good for me on just one battery. The 1/4-inch mount option was a great thing to see. The screen on the Hero 13 is bigger than the one that I had on the 8, and the actual touchscreen is more responsive. All the time-lapse modes were a hoot to use. I probably should have made that its own video, but oh well. I still can't believe these image results are possible with so little effort. Lastly, this camera can really take a beating in a way that other cameras just can't. Water, dust, drops, whatever. As photographers, we really shouldn't take that for granted. This camera fits a perfect space for me. It shoots really high quality images, but at such a low price point, I don't need to insure it. Also, it's still an action camera. That means by its existence alone, it encourages me to get out and be active and shoot more. Okay, here's some things I did not love. Burst mode. Really muddy image results here with very little real world application given its 5 to 15 second record limits. Get it out of here. My 5.3K file sizes work quite low, but my iMac still struggled with playback at times. That's about it. I tried to cover as much as possible with this camera, but if I forgot anything, please let me know in the comments and I will check it out. Ooh, it feels so great to be back out here in these YouTube streets. I hope you had fun today. I did. And I'm excited to get more filmmaking and photography videos out to help you guys this year. So please like and subscribe. Also comment below if you're feeling the GoPro Hero 13 or not. I'd like to hear from you either way. Remember to always put your faith in art, and I will see you next time. Peace.